That's right.
The Rule Out Podcast. Oh, welcome back everyone to another Rule Out episode where we try to figure out why we called it Rule Out. Is that camera on a bit of an angle? That's alright, you just get the picture. I better put my headphones on so I can hear myself. I was going to call it a day with the podcast and everything, but look, it's only midday. Alright, I've already been to work, finished off a slab, and got that ready for concrete. Got to calculate the concrete for that later on. Call a few blokes, see if we can sort out a pour this Friday. So yeah, I thought I'd just whack out another half-hour podcast. More the merrier. Got plenty to talk about. Haven't even thought about what I'm going to talk about in this podcast yet, so it's going to be fairly random. Look at this. My dad gave me this photo the other day. If you can see that. You see that? That's me and my two brothers up at a lodge in I think Cradle Mountain or something like that. I still remember that time when we went snowing. So the camera's been a bit blurry. It'll probably clear up in a second because I'll put that up to the camera. Come on, fix. Is autofocus on? Don't know, but yeah. Fix yourself, boy. Sorry, everyone. Alright, we fixed it. Alright, everyone, sorry about that. Yeah, so that's a picture of me and my two brothers up at the lakeside, or not, I don't know, lakeside, I don't know. Lakeside? Where'd that come from? Yeah, just up at Cradle Mountain Lodge, I think, in the snow. That would have been back in, 2005 or something like that. I remember that day I got snow in my gumboots, and apparently Dad tells me that he remembers me saying, "Oh, it's cold," all day. Yeah, it was cold. Had snow on my boots. So yeah, what to talk about, eh? Today, just working on that slab and everything. What have I been up to last week? Been working on tattoos. Been getting a few more tattoos and everything on my arm, just whatever, fun. Trying to get my left arm kind of done before summer type thing. Something to do, mate. But yeah, no, looking forward to summer. I want to get a fair bit done. I want to do a bit of surfing. So that's gonna be good. I'm thinking about buying a Harley Davidson. I had a Street 500 about a year ago, roughly 8 months, something like that. Had one of them. They weren't too bad. The only problem is if you get on the highway or anything like that, they're pretty gutless. Like they're not the best. Like you want a bit more power. You're always looking for another gear or something like that. So I'm looking at getting some sort of 1300 or something, like a proper either street bob, or I reckon it's going to be a street bob because they've got more blacked out stuff on them. There's less chrome and like the soft tails. So yeah, we'll see how I go with that anyway. But yeah, I would like to go on a nice holiday or something over to somewhere like Thailand or something like that. Bali. Bali would be a lot cheaper, easier to get to, I suppose. Yeah, see what happens. There's plenty of time, but there isn't. That's my biggest thing. Like, there is no tomorrow, but there is. So, and you know how people say, "Oh, you gotta Live today like there's no tomorrow. Well, if there was no tomorrow, mate, I'd be going and jumping out of an aeroplane with no parachute, and my mate's got his parachute on, and he has to give me my parachute once we're out of the plane. That's the type of stuff I'd be doing if there was no tomorrow. But I know that there's a good chance that there's going to be tomorrow, and I've got to go to work and finish this slab I'm doing, so I'm not going to go blow my money and start doing stupid stuff because there's a nuke that's going to hit tomorrow. But yeah, that's the type of stuff I'd be doing if you knew that you were pretty much signing off tomorrow. So yeah, that's something I'd be doing. I've done skydiving before. Yeah, I did it with my brother, my younger brother. I think that was a year and a half ago, probably. It was when we got back from that Perth trip I was talking about in the previous podcast. Yeah, because I was over there, and that swing stage incident, that was kind of a bit of a warm up to the heights, and I was like, well, if I can hang off the side of a building with a cable that could possibly break and then I'm just dead, I can go and jump out of an aeroplane intentionally with a parachute on. So that's what I thought we'd go and do, and I knew my brother was stupid enough to do it as well, so we just went and did that, and it was a good day. I was getting pretty hyped for it. Got plenty of photos and everything. I'll be showing you again, like I said in the last episode, but I don't have the stream properly set up and everything. My camera only records 30-minute videos too, so that's cap time for me at the moment until I can kind of sort out all this stuff that's going on. But yeah, skydiving, it's a rush, I'll tell you that much. Like, I loved it though. You pull up and you get in your Pablo Escobar aeroplane, you feel like you're going to drop some bags of cocaine in the marshes. Because I was in there and sitting at the back of the aeroplane, like it's my first time on one of these little aeroplanes, and you're kind of sitting at the back, looking out the back of the aeroplane, and then my brother's behind me. It was tandem, so you had to have these professionals like they're strapped to the back of you and everything. And yeah, he's Elijah was going first. That's my younger brother's name. He's going first, so he's closest to the door. So you get up to about 20,000 feet or something like that, or 13,000, 15,000, something like that. And then they go, righto, 5 minutes to jump. So old mate throws open the window or the door, and it feels like a hurricane's coming through the aeroplane. And then before you know it, you're getting thrown out of the aeroplane and you're flying through the air. My brother, when he came out of when I seen him go out of the aeroplane, he was kind of more like flipping around everywhere, which would have been cool. But we kind of just fell straight and then went straight into a free fall type of thing. But that initial like drop that your stomach feels like when you come out of that plane and you're first getting up to that speed is like a real weird feeling. But I tell you, once you're in the sky and like you completely forget about the whole idea that you're pummeling towards the ground at possibly 200 miles per hour or kilometers per hour, sorry, and could die. But you just forget about that, because I was there just looking along the horizon and everything, and then looking down, and I couldn't stop yelling like, "Hell yeah, dog! Hell yeah!" Because it's just, you just feel like you're on top of the world, and you kind of are. Definitely a good experience to go and do. You definitely conquer your fear a little bit. You'll never get rid of fear in life, but you definitely find a way to be more comfortable around it and to be able to, sit in it a little bit and not have it completely consume you and alter your decisions that you're making. So choosing to go and jump out of an airplane with a parachute's a good way to kind of, teach yourself a bit of that. So yeah, not a bad kind of thing to get in. I think I'd like to go and try and do my sitting down. I'd like to try and I'd like to go and do my A license, is it? Yeah, my A license. Skydiving or whatever. You got to go, I think it's like, you only have $2,500. I think it costs 2,500 to 3,000, after accommodation, everything. You can go up to Cairns or somewhere like that and do it with Skydive Australia. And I've thought about doing that a couple of times. I probably will end up doing it because it'd be just a cool ticket to have, and it's internationally recognised. So when you go travelling, you can actually go and skydive solo and everything. Like, I feel like, especially if you're full on into travelling and everything, a lot of them do have that kind of, it depends on the person, type of person you are, and where you stand with that kind of stuff, whether you can handle that kind of fear or be able to, or you see that as fun or not. You might like to just sit in a restaurant in Paris or London, or go out clubbing and all this stuff. But I feel like those extreme sports and everything, like, they just really like lock in memories for you. Like, you remember you were there because you were flying at the ground 200 kilometers an hour with a parachute strapped to your back. And that's kind of traveling I'd like to do if I did end up doing it. So I think one day I will do that A license. You got to do, I think the first day you go there, I think you if you haven't done a tandem before, you can jump out tandem first. But then I think straight up, they just strap a parachute to your back after you do all the theory and practice and everything on the ground. Obviously, they'll jump out with an instructor, and he holds onto you and everything and pulls your chute for you the first time, and then you'll land yourself and whatnot after, because you've been taught and trained and all that. So yeah, and then by the end of it, you can jump out solo on your own. I think you got to do like 10, 12 jumps, something like that, before you're good to go. So yeah, that's something I'm looking to doing in the future, and hoping to. I've got my scuba license as well. That's another thing I like to do, but I'm trying to toss up whether what's more scary, like, because you go scuba diving. You've got sharks, right? Depending on the type of scuba diving you go, because I don't really do it too much because I'm not into the deep diving and everything like that. Like, I 100% would rather jump out of an aeroplane than deep dive, like wreck dives and shit like that, because it's just, you're relying on a lot of shit not to go wrong when you're like 20, 30, anything like, that deep underwater. You're shot if something goes wrong, especially if you can't keep your cool. So yeah, I think scuba diving to me is a little bit more scary than jumping out of an aeroplane, because all you got to do is, there's a lot of things that can go wrong as well. You can have a chute that wraps up and everything, but like, I don't know, it's got to be, scuba diving, deep dives, like wreck dives, all stuff like that. A shark come up out of nowhere and grab you by the flipping back of the sack, thrash you around. You've already drowned to death, and then you're just getting chewed on. That's it. No one's recovering that body. That's definitely not how I want to go out. So I limit my time to scuba diving. Don't really need to anyway, because most places I go, like crayfish, when crayfish and abalone season's in, I'll go down the west coast in Tasmania there, and that's a pretty good time. But it's like the water, it's only about 3 meters deep where you kind of have to go to be able to find them and everything, so I don't really take a tank. And all that gear is fairly heavy, especially when you're like not just on the side of a boat or a pool, or just, places like that. Like, it's just rock. You got to walk this big ass tank and all this gear across the rocks and everything. It's just so much more easy and cruisy when you're just snorkeling. You can just duck dive, do whatever. Easy to get out. It's not hard on your back. Like, I'm 24. My back's definitely needs looking after. Otherwise, it ends up, struggling a fair bit with stuff like that. Yeah, it doesn't take much just to tweak it. Not as bad as a lot of people's, but it's definitely an issue. I've got to make sure I look after it. Otherwise, it'll just get worse, type of thing. Right, yeah, what else is there to talk about? What else is there to talk about? Oh, that's right. That's right. I wanted to start this little recommended read thing on the podcast where I just recommend a book that I've read and talk a little bit about it and what I got out of it. And to start off with, the first book I'd like to recommend is Middleton's The Fear Bubble. Without fear, there's no challenge. And harness fear and live without limits. And I like how he says harness fear on the front there, because in the book he even says that these people that say, oh, they're fearless and everything, no one's fearless. Everyone feels fear. It's just, that's the difference. They've either they've harnessed it, you know, and that's what it is. It's about being able to control and harness the fear, so you are not freaking out or letting it take over your whole thought process and everything in the moment. And the fear bubble, it says his idea is create a bubble around where that fear should actually be infecting you. So, I mean, his book there, he says, like, instead of feeling, because he's done a couple of tours and whatnot, in Afghanistan, I think it was, and it's about that, and mainly his climb, his summit of Everest, and how he used the fear bubble method there during his life and those experiences and whatnot. So he's pretty well, instead of letting, when he'd go over on his tours and everything, instead of having just that whole thing just be one big fear, like infectious thing that would just get a hold of you and everything and make the whole experience over there just a big rough time, he'd just say, well, like, when I'm in my tent, I'm not fighting or anything, like, I'm safe. There's no point. There's no need to be scared. There's no fear or anything. But when he's on a mission and everything, even before he gets safe, he knows there's enemies behind this door, everything, he'll create a fear bubble. He'll picture it in front of that door. And he won't allow himself to feel any fear or anything until he actually steps up into that bubble. And by doing that, he's not letting the whole mission just, like, infect him with the fear. It's just step by step, which makes it a lot easier to manage. Like, right, I'm not scared right now. I haven't stepped up to that door right now. I'm not scared or anything. There's I'm completely safe. And then he steps into it, you know, breaches the door, goes in, sorts everything out, and then that's him stepping out of it once he does that, and he just takes it step by step. And so you're not just completely infected the whole time you're on your tour over there by fear. So and I thought that was pretty cool, and you can definitely use that in any aspect of life. It's like that skydiving. You can literally, like, you're putting your, like, you instantly, I remember when I was doing it, you instantly start feeling that fear coming on in your stomach and in your chest, like everything, like, as soon as they start strapping you up in the parachute and everything. But you're not flying through the air yet, you know, there's no point being scared or feeling that fear or anything. And when I think about it, I'm like, where would I put the fear bubble? And, you know, like, you get in the airplane, you're flying up to, you're completely safe, there's nothing wrong or anything. The only time, even when they've opened the door, there's no need to be scared or anything. You're completely safe. You're in an airplane. The only part that I would say should have the fear bubble is right at outside the door. Exactly that point where you let go. So that's where I'd put that, I reckon. So you just try to control all that fear and everything. Just say, no, I'm completely safe, all up until that moment where you step into that bubble, you jump out of the airplane, and that's it. And I noticed that as soon as I'd let go of that airplane, I was flying through the air, I wasn't scared anymore. So I feel like that's a real quick fear bubble. Like, it's right there. It's just that point where you just got to let go, you know. And it is. A lot of the best experiences in life are on the other side of fear. I remember seeing Will Smith say that on one of his interviews. And it's very true. A lot of the best experiences in life are on the other side of fear. And I'll be damned if I let fear control my life and my decisions and my experiences. So, and that's a big reason why I wanted to do skydiving, just to show myself, you know, that it's not in charge. So that's definitely a recommended read. Definitely a good book. He's got plenty of others. I'm halfway through his other one at the moment, and I'll recommend that on the next podcast. Just trying to make sure, yeah, just get plenty of time to be able to read through it with work and gym and all that. But that's the thing, there's always time. Just can't be procrastinating, and just got to try and stay off your phone a lot. I find myself, that's one of the things I hate most is my phone. I just hate it. But you can't not be on it. Like you everything to do. Like if you want to go on MyGov or just anything, like look at your tax or your banking. Like it's just the whole world revolves around technology now. Like it's funny to think like what would happen if everything just EMP'd, just dropped off and then there was nothing. Like I'll tell you, crime would go through the roof. Everyone would be killing everyone everywhere, stealing, theft. It would be just absolute. And I remember this movie actually that's pretty much like that, Revolution, I think it was called, where just a big EMP went off and just that was it. It went back to there's gangs and like little settlements and everything. People start growing their food again, gardens. In a lot of ways it'd be good, but definitely in a lot of ways bad as well because people would see that opportunity to do bad shit pretty well. So you want to make sure you had your gun loaded and on you at all times. So technology, not a big fan. I know it's the only way I'm being able to make this podcast and everything, but I mean, like, this isn't the part I hate about it. It's this phone, like it just, like you spend 20, 30 minutes on it, an hour, like, and you just end up getting caught scrolling on Instagram or whatever, looking at all this rubbish. And after that, it just makes you feel like you're dead inside. But it just traps you. And I find, like, even if you go on your phone for a certain thing just to quickly check something, just by reflex, you'll be in that app and you open it and then you scroll. And I've even seen myself before completely swipe away from all of my apps that I'm using. No, I'll swipe out of Instagram, swipe the app off the app open apps list, and then I'll go straight back into it. And I hate that because you just waste so much time on there, and it's just brain rotting you. And then all you do is just end up comparing yourself to all these other people that are just, like, seem to be doing so much better than you when they're not. Like they're just like say for instance the fitness industry. I will not take any single person on the internet seriously when it comes to fitness because they're all on steroids. Everyone to be able to compete in the fitness industry today is on steroids. Even the women, they're all on Enovar, a slight dose of Enovar. Everyone's on it. And if you're not, no one cares about you because your body isn't up to the standard of what has been made, like this unrealistic standard that isn't natural. Yeah, good on you from going to the gym and everything, so do I. I like to push myself and get after it and everything, but like, it doesn't have the same effect on my body that it does for these people that are enhanced, on PEDs and stuff. So I've stopped, like, as soon as I see a post, like, get out of my face, mate. Like, I don't care. Like, oh, you did real hard at the gym today, did you? Well, good on you. So did I. But I don't have a body like that because I'm not on steroids, and it's simple as that. And all these people out here, oh, I'm natural. You're not natural, bruv, Like, it's so annoying. And like, people just need to understand, if you want to look like that, you got to do what them people are doing, and that's not eating right. That's not being real strict or doing all this shit. It's just injecting themselves with steroids or just doing something that isn't natural to be able to get to that. And if that's what they want to do, fine. But all these people that are just fake natties and everything can go and shove it because it's that annoying seeing people that just, and all that does is for someone that doesn't have the knowledge and know that that's only achievable by PEDs or just being an enhanced bodybuilder, it just makes them look at you and compare themselves, and then it just the self-hate kicks in, and it's like, well, why aren't I that good? I'll never be that good. And you're just putting unrealistic standards on everyone else by lying to everyone, by not telling them that you're not natural. And like, hell, I'd love to look like that and everything, but I'm not going to cut my life short or ruin my health by just going and stuffing around with something that's just made up. The only way I would see myself ever taking any sort of enhancement or anything is just once I got to a certain point in my life, say late 30s, or mid-30s, depending. You keep track of your bloods and everything. As soon as I see my kind of testosterone declining, all I do is just go the slightest dose of anything just to keep it on a smooth line or whatever, all the way till, for the rest of your life, just to keep your life going. Because you get to a certain point and testosterone goes down, your quality of life, everything goes down. So I think that's definitely a good reason to get on it. And I feel like that's when I would, but not when I'm young. I'm 24, like my testosterone's fine, like I don't need it. Like I'm just, perfectly healthy, so I don't see the reason for me to do it right now. And I don't care about all these other guys online and everything, and what they're doing and whatnot, because I'm not, like, I used to always compare myself to that and say, oh, I need to get to that level, and it near does make you think, right, because I knew that if I wanted to get to that level, I'd have to take steroids, but I'm not doing that. I've made the decision that, no, I'm just being influenced by these people that are living a completely different life to me, and I couldn't actually care less what they're doing, and stop watching all that rubbish anyway, and just focus on myself, go to the gym, work on myself, be the best version of myself that I can be, not try to be someone that's online. And limiting time online, scrolling and looking at all that stuff helps a lot, because it just flushes it out of your head. Because you got to just, the only room in your head, the only stuff that should be taking up that room in your head is just everything to do with yourself. You got to be selfish. To a certain extent, like I try to have as much time to myself as possible, reading books, going to the gym, fill my weeks with as much work as possible, do these podcasts for just a vent, and just try to eat as healthy as possible, which is something I struggle with and everything. Like, not really, like I eat healthy, but just not enough food, because I do want to gain weight naturally, and I know I will as I get older and your metabolism does slow down and everything. But yeah, you just do everything for yourself, and you'll never be disappointed by someone else's take on it or whatever, or can't explain it or whatever. But it's like, if you're doing all this for girls or a girl or someone like that and everything, you're just going to end up disappointed, because at the end of the day, all these guys, they get all these, like, they're jacked up on juice and everything, and like, girls don't like that, man. Like, I've seen so many. And it's like a pandemic that's going through that fitness industry online. It's like, oh, you thought you'd get big and you get all these muscles and everything, and you'd be living the dream. But turns out it's just your bros that are in love with you now, all the gym bros, And the only girls that do like that lifestyle, and they can tell that you're on steroids, are the ones that are on Anavar, the ones that have, doing those PEDs as well, because most girls, they see a guy and they're like, right, all he does is spend his life in the gym. Well, they don't want that. A girl wants to be out traveling. You see all these girls, their Instagram's all about where I went on the weekend, or where I went last week. I went to Bali or Thailand. That seems to be a real common one, and they get over there in their bikinis and they're doing all this shit and whatnot. They want to travel, they want to go camping, they want someone that's fun, someone that's a variety guy, and not someone that's just looking in a mirror 24/7 lifting weights. I do that, but I'm a variety guy. I love surfing, I love camping, I like going fishing, I like all this stuff, like, I'm not trying to live a bland, boring life, and no girl wants to live like that either, unless that's their type of life, which is pretty boring, like, fitness can be a base, in your life and everything, but you got to live a life still, I think fitness is very important. I'm not talking shit about any of that. Very important, but like, just who wants to look back and all they remember is weights and looking in the mirror in a gym and hating themselves for their whole life because they never got to the potential that they did, and then when they did, their pump was bigger, and then they just wanted to get even bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, eventually it just starts affecting your mental state more than anything. So, yeah. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling on, guys. It's another half hour gone by super quick. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. Do subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, leave any comments below for future episodes, anything you want to know. And I'll see you in the next one. Going to head outside finally, and Just soak up that sunshine if there is any sunshine. I don't know, it's probably started raining by now. So you guys have a good week, and I'll see you on Sunday or Saturday. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Jake. This is the Rule Out Podcast. Take it easy.